It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Cut down or freeze up.
Being a coach's son. Jackson, of course, they keep retooling. One stone in place, a hit by pitch. Oh my goodness. Hello everyone, welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast Baseball Talk. Powered by, as always, by my good buddies over at Game 7 Baseball. If you're looking for some fall ball, I know we're close. We're getting there. Maybe October is the end. I know it is for Game 7. So I think it's the last one on Halloween weekend. Make sure you check them out. Go see if you need to get in. Get your t-shirts made. You know, just put snot rockets on the front or something like that. Tape a number on the back. It's all right. Just as long as it sticks on the back of the shirt. Get some swings in. Have some fun. It's fall ball. Hey. That's what we're here to. But if you want a good experience, make sure you check out Game 7 Baseball, game7baseball.com. Tell Dave and Dave Bryan over at Youth Baseball Midwest sent you. Give us a follow. On X, you can follow us at uppercase YBM_cast, all lowercase, on Instagram and Facebook at Youth Baseball Midwest. We put out a bunch of stuff, our shorts and stuff on social media. Please follow us there. We do appreciate it. Today on the show, on the Prime Sports call link from Forsyth High School, the head coach of the Panthers. Oh, man. My tongue quit working for a moment. Alex Weatherman. Coach, thanks for taking a moment to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thankful for you guys doing this, and I'm glad to be able to visit with you for a little bit.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, check out Prime Sports, 3 locations here in the metro St. Louis area, Fenton, Chesterfield, St. Peters. If you're looking for some baseball gear, go online, primesportsmw.com. All right, Coach, we do this. I started doing this because I think it's fun. We did this on our show yesterday. I want to do it for this one today, and it has to do with the Mid-Lakes Conference. Don't answer it if you know. But I guess you are a newcomer in some ways to the Mid-Lakes Conference, so I don't know, but you probably might know this one. But folks, if you're watching, what Mid-Lakes Conference team finished in second place in the 2025 Class 3 Misha State Championships? If you know, make sure you put a comment below. Tell us what you think. We'll give the answer at the end. We won't just leave you hanging that way. And we'll come back to it. But what Mid-Lakes Conference team finished second place in 2025 Class 3 Misha State Championship? I actually saw that game last year. It was a good game. So we'll catch up at the end there. But for today, though, we got Coach Weatherman. Coach, just kind of give the folks just a quick how do you do, who you are.
Yeah, so Alex Weatherman, I grew up in Marionville, Missouri, and I was actually blessed to be their head coach for a couple of years not too long ago, and we found some pretty early success with them. And, I kind of didn't have much of a baseball career. I wasn't a very good baseball player growing up, but loved the game, wanted to be a part of the game, and, wasn't good enough to play at the college level, just to be completely honest. And, whenever I got there, loved baseball. I wanted to learn. I wanted to see how much I could find out and what I could give back to kids in the future and try to help them out and, maybe guide some kids that I wish I had a little more guidance on. And, that led me up to Lebanon after Marionville and had a great experience there, some really good teams, and kind of wanted to match myself up against some of the best in the area. I wanted to see what, the Jason Hausers and Scott McGee's could, bring to the table, learn from them a little bit. And now I'm at Forsyth, went to C of O, and, families always wanted to be back in the Branson area. So we're grateful to be here. It's awesome school, awesome community, and I'm really excited to see what we do here.
Now, I'm curious, and I think that's 3 schools in 5 years. For one, I would like to, why leave your alma mater?
Yeah, so I think that's such a cool story. So that was my first head coaching opportunity was there, and I was very blessed. I learned more than I did from anybody else under Jason Gross there, who's at Morrisville now. And I learned how to plan a practice really efficiently, how to keep things going, and had all that success there at Marionville. Won a state title in 21, the quarterfinal in 22, and Will Christian, who's the athletic director at Lebanon, had actually reached out to me on an email and asked if I would be interested in taking their head coaching job and come in, interview all those things. And I kind of sat down with my wife and said, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to have to coach Class 6 baseball in Missouri. And, I'm really young. I think now's the time to go. And, it was a great thing for me because at Marionville, I was still viewed as the young guy, the kid that a lot of these people had, coached growing up and everything. And, coaching your hometown's a really hard thing to do. It's really tough. And, I think if I would have stuck it out, we would have been fine. And, a lot of that stuff would have passed. But being 22, 23 years old, that's not an easy thing to do. And I saw a really golden opportunity there. And Coach Christian, actually, he coached the 2003 state football championship team at Marionville. So there was his connection there. And I just thought it was the right career move, something that would really help, go up there. And I wanted to kind of test myself against some of those guys. So did that. And then this last year at Lebanon, it's like, I think that, I've done about what we can with this program and stuff. It's a great place. The kids work really hard. So I had some super talented kids there and stuff, and was just blessed there. And I was going nonstop. We had open facilities. We had all that stuff all the time. And my wife and I sat down, and we got a 3-year-old now. It's like, it might be time to take a little bit of a step back, really care for the family and stuff, and get somewhere that, we've always loved. We've always wanted to get to. The mission was to always get back down to the Branson area. And luckily I had, some great mentors, and Coach Neil Richardson at C of O right now, and Byron Richardson, who was the head coach here before me. And they put in great words. They're both incredible people, incredible baseball coaches, and kind of, helped me out a little bit with this one.
Very good. Yeah, because you're leaving behind some dudes there at Lebanon, man.
Yeah, no, there's some kids that can play. Cole Milliken has some of the best bat-to-ball skills I've ever seen. And, last year, you talk about a kid who every single night at the cages is hitting. He's lifting 2 to 3 times a day. He's doing anything he can to just get to that level. And it was really cool. Last year, I went up and watched a Mizzou fall practice and talked to their coaches some. They had a lot of interest in Beckett. And it's like, I think he's going to end up being something for you guys. And to see him commit to Mizzou was awesome. And then they just had another move in, too, Landon Clee from Camdenton. And, that's going to help them out a lot. So Lebanon's going to have a really talented baseball team this next year. They're going to have to, look a little bit on the pitching side, see what they can do. But I'm kind of excited to follow them a little bit.
I agree. The tough thing, I want to ask you about this, and being a young coach, you're in this classic school. Lebanon is kind of like in that same boat as Rolla. Yeah. And you guys, you're having to drive all the way up. You're in District 2.
Yep.
Explain some of the, I know maybe people don't, it's just, you can do it. There's a lot of logistical difficulties. You're a classic school. You're doing this. There's a lot of in conference play, in just finding teams and competition to play. Correct?
Oh, 100%. The logistics of all that are just absolutely wild. Finding out we're going up to St. Louis that first year in 23 and stuff, and you try to host and stuff, and nobody from St. Louis wants to drive down to Lebanon and play either, and we don't have turf there, so there's not a lot of cards that were playing in our favor. So I finally sat down and said, we're going to email every single coach that might be in this district, and we're going to try to get them on the regular season schedule. And we did, and we had 1 or 2 respond. But the thing that I loved about Class 6 baseball, and I'm hoping that it'll translate a little bit down here too, is that the strategy that St. Louis coaches, Kansas City coaches, and now the greater Springfield area coaches are using to try to put them and their teams in the best position it's incredible. I was very impressed with just the strategy they use to seating wise, all those things, where we're playing at times a day and stuff. There's so much that goes into it. It's such an awesome part of our state in baseball. I don't think that people in surrounding states even realize just how competitive Class 6 baseball is in Missouri.
It's tough, man.
Mm.
We were just talking about the St. Louis Suburban Conference yesterday on the show, and my goodness, and you look at the Kansas City Suburban, which I'm sure you played a lot of those teams probably coming up and down there, and and a team from the KC Suburban Conference over the last 6 years has won the state championship in Missouri. It's difficult, man. It
really is. And I mean, whenever I went up there to Parkway South, I think it was in 24, Matt Brown, the coach there, excellent and just incredible guy, and does an incredible job there. And he's like, I mean, this is the district of death. I mean, you have 6-7 teams in here that are ultra competitive every single year. And in 23, we beat Parkway South, moved to the semifinal, and we drive up to Vianney, and we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. We just beat Luke Sullivan on the mound, like, hey guys, and we drive up there, and the guy Vianney threw was 88, and the guy we threw was 75, and it's like, okay, no, the depth and stuff is just unheard of here, and getting to visit with Vianney's coach at a clinic this last year, he's like, yeah, no, we had a lot of respect for you guys. We watched you play and stuff. Just the depth, the level that you have to build up into it. It's tough. And in the Springfield area, you see teams and guys like Scott and Jason and Glendale and these guys that are reloading now. They're finding ways to get talent to come in and buy into the process of freshman and junior varsity baseball and wait their turn to be able to go produce. And it's special. It's growing in our area, and I've loved being able to have a seat up front and watch it the last few years.
I do have, and it's interesting, and one of the things that I always do in my own mind, but I have a couple of points of reference because my dad owned a pizza restaurant in Marionville back in the day called Pizza Pizza. That's all I know of Marionville.
Okay.
And that was in
awesome.
The late 90s, I think it was. And my dad is also from Lebanon Lebanon, Missouri. So I did attend Lebanon High School back in the day through, it was in the early 80s, like 1980, 81 in there.
Okay.
82 in that time frame. My sister graduated actually from Lebanon High School. Before we went out to the West Coast. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar with those surroundings. I had a buddy that played on the baseball team. It was my sophomore year. He was a senior, and he was on that, and it was a pretty good squad that year. I think it was 80. I think it was 82 that year.
Yeah. So something enticing about Lebanon to me too, whenever I went there, was in the interview, they had Dave Plasmeyer, Hall of Famer, giant baseball coach in the area, interviewing, and the Babe Ruth World Series being held there. Like, it was a pinnacle area for baseball a long time ago, and just something really special. And they're very proud of that. And, I was happy to have a little bit of a part of trying to build that up and stuff. And we made so much progress with the youth baseball scene there. And it was really cool the last few years. It was definitely not an easy decision to leave.
I understand. Talk to us a little bit. Here's the thing, and I think this is interesting because, when you talk about coaching philosophies, goals, and how you set yourself in motion, I know you've said a lot about your mentors and whatnot, and that's fantastic. And I think you have to have those. But you've also, the first 5 years of coaching, you've had 23 wins, 22 wins, 24 wins, 23 wins, and 21 wins. You've put together 5 seasons of 20 wins, and 3 of those in Class 6. Coach, I'll just say that's pretty impressive. That's over 100 wins in your first 5 years. Talk to us about your mindset towards, how you put yourself in these. You got to have talent. I understand, and talent is key. But you also have to be able to point the talent in the right direction.
Yes, I love that because I could talk about this all day. So I'm a big believer that talent does win games. That's one of the biggest things, and that's part of the coaching philosophy is how are we going to build this talent. So I've assembled what I think are some of the core values that we must have. Hitting the ball harder, being able to hit the ball, swing decisions and stuff, and we go full on training hardcore for those things. And I tell our kids to stop focusing about necessarily the results and focusing on just tracking and getting better. So I mean, we're going to track how fast we can swing the bat, how hard we hit the ball, how often we hit the ball, all off season long. We're going to do it in the spring too. And I'm preaching constantly to them that we're not necessarily trying to go out and beat Nixa today. We are trying to beat Nixa in the long run, and today we're trying to be better than what we were yesterday. And a lot of coaches preach that, but I think it is so important to have the physical numbers and data there to show kids. I mean, we're going to do a 4 corners drill today, for a minute. Let's see how we do. Well, kids are going to get bored with that after a while. But where they don't get bored with things like that is saying, hey, you got it 9 times yesterday. Let's get it 12 today. And you can see the progress. They organize their bodies, and they just do incredible things like that. But that's kind of the approach that I've taken now as far as developing talent. And, we talk about mentors and stuff. After we won a state title, Mike Essick, legend from Ozark, called me, and he told me that you win 2 ways. You win with talent, and you win with effort and how good you're able to make your kids play. And I was like, okay. And he said, you do an excellent job with the effort part, but don't ever let the talent level drop. Keep building, keep going. Mike's been a mentor for a lot of guys in the area. And I'm like, okay, well, it's time to do a deep dive, which I was so ate up with it and wanting to learn and to help myself, help other kids that I watched about every single ABCA video that you could find in their library. I'm reaching out to coaches. I try to go to 3 to 4 college campuses a fall and watch a fall practice and ask questions. I just got back from Johnson County last week and, just trying to learn like crazy, see what guys are doing, what works, what doesn't work, and what fits into the philosophy. But another cool thing that I've done a lot of is we run the bases like crazy. And everybody knows we're going to do it at this point, but we just send guys. And I don't ever give a sign. They're just looking for cues, reads, tells that we find. And we get those and we send them. And we just try to cause as much chaos as we possibly can. And I've never considered myself a small ball kind of guy, I guess, but a lot of coaches come up and they're like, wow, you're just small balling us to death. Wow, you're going to go. You're just going to be aggressive. And I'm like, oh, well, great. That works out awesome for us and stuff. But I'm going to develop tons of talent. I'm going to hold kids accountable. My faith kind of guides a lot of the ways that I try to lead. I try to lead by example. I want to be a vocal leader for them, but I want to love these kids. These kids need to know that I care about them. I'm there for them. And I think that creates a lot of the buy-in that I get from that. And it helps build up these programs. And I've been very blessed with good talent, but I've been blessed with good talent that works extremely hard, buys into the process, and they just keep getting better from it.
I think it's interesting too when you say it, because here you are now. Forsyth is a Class 4 school. It's up from Class 2. So, and this is so you've gone from Class 6 Lebanon, where you can, you have more opportunity for talent, back down to Class 4. It's not a private school. It's a public school. You get what you get. How difficult is it, and how do you take and identify talent? And I know you're going to have kids playing multiple sports. How are you identifying talent? And is that something that, you just, how do you do that?
I love that part of it all. I've watched very closely the Tristan Hunters. That's a name that everybody knows. The Gross family, some talented kids come through Forsyth and stuff. And I knew going into this year that a lot of those kids are gone. The kids I have now, it's setting their own new standard and things. And, this summer I just kind of got to know the kids, watched them play a little bit, helped out, and I've got different ways of identifying, different kinds of movers, different kinds of players and things like that. It was a new system introduced to the kids and they love it. They're eating it up. And I was kind of walking around the gym and stuff, the football field, like there's some really athletic looking kids that I've not seen before here. And our AD goes, yeah, a lot of them have stopped or whatever, just along the way, youth, middle school, whatever. And I was like, we need to start getting these kids out. If they're going to go play these other two sports, we need to get these kids out because we just added track and field last year. We're not competing hard for spots there. So let's find a way to get these kids out. Well, now there's a lot more coming out. You have a new coach coming in. You've got these systems and stuff. And I was like, as long as we are willing to work, guys, I'll work with anyone. But I'm just walking around introducing kids. And, the first thing I say is, I'm Coach Weatherman. It's nice to meet you. Obviously, you're very athletic. And, would you be interested in playing baseball? And if they say yes, I say, okay, here's the deal. I need you to show up some in the off season. Yes, it's basketball season. I need you to show up a little bit. I need you to put in some work, and I will give you a completely honest evaluation of where you are at, and I'll let you know if you're going to help or not. And if you decide to play, great. And if you don't, we'll just part ways and we'll be fine. But being honest and upfront with those kinds of kids, and, hey, you have the build, you have a chance. Let's see what we can do. I love the development side. That's what I really, truly enjoy about this gig. I think we can help you out a lot. But if you're not willing to give me the time to do it before we start playing, now that's a whole different question. So we're doing that. But, there's so much talent down here. So many kids, they value baseball here at Forsyth with the rich history of Neil Richardson being here forever, his son, and Jim Julian, who's at Glendale, was coach for a long time. They've had some incredible talent come through. They're really excited right now. And the biggest thing I'm doing is I'm just trying to encourage the high schoolers, go hit in the morning, go do some of this stuff. They're in a fall league right now, so they're doing all that, too. And I'm getting with the youth. I've already held 2, youth camps, and I'm looking to do more and just keep building up all of these kids and show them that baseball matters a lot here. And we're not okay with just winning 18 games a year. We want to get back to the Final Four. We want to win championships. Because that's the next step. Right now, everybody at this level fears Logan Rogersville, and rightfully so. They are a legitimate power, but Logan Rogersville and Casey didn't just get there by luck. It's by design, and here's the framework. Let's start building here too.
We look at, I think I love the part. I just want to go back to this because who I am as a person and what I believe about Jesus and how I live every day is a big part of what we do in our company. You can't separate yourself. And I love the fact that those are created because I do believe kids have to know, young people have to know you actually care about them. You're not just there to get what you can out of them and, because that's still very transactional. It's not relatable to people. And you have to create a relational context with anybody you deal with, that it isn't just that, I understand why you want to be here, why I'm here, and we're working together and understanding what we're trying to accomplish or working to accomplish together. I don't like the word try. I don't. I can't stand the word try. I think if I call it, and people will tell, if you're trying, that is, you're saying, you hear something, oh, I'm trying. Well, that's the lament of the failed.
Yeah.
You work.
That's the truth.
You work. And if you're working, you may not achieve exactly what you're trying to accomplish yet, but if you keep working, eventually you will. But if you're trying, that's what you usually get. Well, I was trying. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yes. And it looks in so many different ways too. We've got a really, really talented set of kids here, but there's a few that, hey coach, I hit 83 on the radar. I'm hoping to be touching 92 by the spring. Like, we got to slow down. Yeah. You're going to work hard. You're going to get better, but it might not, that's a little unrealistic right now. Hey guys, I like the development side stuff, but I can't work, miracles sometimes either. So just being realistic, I think, goes such a long way too with how hard kids are working.
Hey dude, if you can get to 85 and throw that consistently, I'll be as happy.
That's what I'm telling them. I'm like, man, you have no idea how many guys have tried to go from 83 to 92 overnight, and not very many have successfully done that.
That's a tough ask. Let's talk about the Mid Lakes Conference. Your Lebanon, I know coming into it, that's the COC, it's the big dog, the Central Ozark Conference. It is what it is down there. But, as we've talked about this, I've been, we had Coach McGee on. I love Coach McGee, fantastic. And if you want to know something about baseball, you call Coach McGee and he'll tell you.
Yes. Yep.
He's just an encyclopedia. But the Mid Lakes Conference, Buffalo, Clever, Fair Grove, Forsyth, Hollister, Reeds Springs, Springfield Catholic now. Stratford, who we had Stratford in our top 20 most of the year last year. From we do YBM, we follow Class 4, so and I know Forsyth was there, 18 wins. Man, you're going to have a tough time just winning your conference, Coach.
Yeah, no, that was another appealing thing about this place to me is I really do believe that the Mid Lakes is the COC of middle-sized schools around our area. And Catholic, I can't even count how many Final Fours they've been to the last few years. Stratford always has a great program. They've capped it off with a state title a few years ago, and Fair Grove, just incredible stuff. There's incredible coaching. There's incredible talent, and the fun part about our job now here at Forsyth is instead of maybe managing the 3 or 4 Division I guys in a lineup that we're facing, now it's how do we beat the one? How do you beat Gavin Thomason and not let him defeat you? How do you beat, this Jack Smith from Catholic and Nate Lask and Nick Reuter who played for me in the summer? Like, I've got a good idea of these kids, but we got to find ways to beat them. And Hollister is going to be an incredible program this year. They've got 2 absolute, studs and Keegan Ryuski and Cooper Kaufman that both throw, both hit really, really well. And it's not easy all the way around. I was talking about that with William Reed at Fair Grove, and there's never a free win on a Tuesday or Thursday in this conference. It doesn't seem like. Clever being in a quarterfinal last year, Cobb does an incredible job down there with them. And it's awesome because our non-conference now we can build around what we need to work on and what teams need to see, because you're going to be tested on Tuesday. And for us, it's like, okay, let's try to get the Bolivers and a few larger schools on our schedule. Let's really try to test ourselves and see, because I think we're going to have the pitching to do it. But then you look at a different program. Here in a few years, we might be in a spot where it's like, okay, we need to play more to a level that, we're going to be able to be competitive at and just keep grinding, get a little bit better every day. And the scheduling with the Mid Lakes allows for that. It allows for incredible competition, because I don't know if we're going to face another player that's as good as Gavin, Thomason all year long. So if we can figure out how to get Gavin Thomason out, we're sitting pretty good. If you can figure out how to beat him on the mound, you're sitting pretty good. Nate Lask from Catholic, I've watched that guy hit the ball a country mile. Like, if you can get that guy out, you're sitting really good. And teams are just improving. I believe Reed Spring had a move in from Branson. That's going to be extremely talented for them. I don't know much about Buffalo right now, but I'm sure I'll learn. Clever was young and competed well this summer. It's going to be a dogfight inside of that Mid Lakes, and just what a great conference. I grew up in the Mid Lakes. Marionville was a part of it while I was growing up, and we loved it. We never felt like we won anything in it, but we always felt super prepared going into our district, and we knew what teams could do and how competitive we could be with those teams based on going against the Stratfords and Fair Groves and really testing ourselves.
One of the things that I thought, Class 6 is, the big sexy, in that respect in the state. And with, all due respect, yes. Class 5, I thought was a little top heavy. Class 4 baseball in the state of Missouri, Coach, I think is deep.
Yes.
And you get some of these Class 4 teams that can go into these Class 6 areas and beat a Class 6 school. Would you agree?
100%. And I've seen that several times over the last few years. Savannah team up near the Kansas City area last year, we played them early on, and I'm like, holy cow, guys, these guys can hit. They're good. And then sure enough, that same weekend, they almost pull off a win against Nixa.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, Nixa, like, that's incredible for a Class 4. And then I don't see Savannah in the Final Four. But then you see Logan Rogersville, and it's like, Rogersville can go out there and compete with anybody, any time of day, and they're all just a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. It's wild, and that leads to Hollister. Hollister, I think that they had a slightly winning record last year, and they almost upset Rogersville in the district championship without their two best arms available. It's just so deep. It's so competitive, and I feel like you really get to test your ability to coach at this level, because if you are going to make a mistake or you're going to do something that goes against your philosophy, it's going to end up biting you, and it's going to be really tough to recover from that. You have to be on your A game. Your kids have to show up on their A game, and you have to build a deep, talented staff in order to compete.
Yeah, we one of our great contributors, we got to know him a few years ago, Coach Ash from Southern Boone. And one of the only coach to win a state championship in 3 different classes in the state of Missouri, which is impressive. And you look at, the central part, and it winds down through the southwest, in my opinion. And like you said, Savannah up there, Chillicothe came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yep.
And I saw them in the championship. Boy, those kids they got hot, were swinging the bats. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And, I think Tolton on paper, probably the favorite, but that's what happens sometimes in baseball.
Oh, it is. It's so cool. It's so incredible. And I love the stories like that, because the year we won a state title at Marionville, we were the 3 seed in our district.
Wow.
We finished the year 23-6, but we were the 3 seed in our district. Purdy and Crane were in there. It was super competitive, and had to go through Morrisville and beat the former coach in the sectional, and Gainesville, who ended up going to the Final Four the next year. And it was a dogfight, and we always felt like we were the underdogs. But the cool part about that is that became kind of our motto, our slogan. We were the 3 seed. Let the 3 seed go prove to everybody else, and you can see that at these younger levels a little bit. At Lebanon, sometimes I felt limited. Like, yes, we can go compete right now, but my number 3 and their number 3 are not the same. And that creates that disparity in talent, like you said, at the 5 and 6 level. But at 4, it's like, okay, well, everybody's 3 is going to be pretty similar, unless you're just on a whole different level. And if you're on that whole different level, you're making that push in the state playoffs every single year. So it's a really fun challenge. It's one where everybody feels like they have a chance, and that makes baseball super exciting.
That's what is known as Blair Oaks.
Oh yeah, yes it is. Yes it is. Yep.
I mean, the depth on that for a Class 4 school is just, to me, is goodness. But you got, and we talk about Class 4. So I'm going to ask you this, and it's early, I know, and you're getting to know, but just off the top of your head, as far as in the Mid Lakes, do you think you have in Class 4, because I know there's some Class 3 schools. Catholic, of course, is Class 5, but that's only because of championship points. But in the Class 4, is there a top 20 team in there?
Yeah, we're really, really solid. I think that Hollister is going to be one that makes a giant push this year at the Class 4 level. I really think they're going to take the next step. They've really impressed me a lot. I think that we're a team that can. We're a team that's going to probably be on the border again, and I think we have some excellent working the ball. And I think that that's our biggest thing. And like I said earlier, I love that side of the game. I think we're going to be an extremely competitive Class 4 team that could be up there in that top 20. The Mid Lakes is just so loaded with talent that it's always hard to get that gauge, just because everyone's going to be so close to each other. And something I was, just thrilled about this summer is we played Hollister, I think our first summer game, and they run ruled us. And we turned around with the same kids and we beat them 2 or 3 to 1 later in the summer. And it's like, guys, we are improving. I promise you this process works. Like we said, I've seen it done several times, and it's worked every single time. You just got to keep believing and trusting in it. And we're a team that I'm going to probably tell everybody who asks that, like, we might not start off as a top 20 team, but there's a chance we finish really high up there. Clever's a school too where they don't have the dude necessarily, but you can't deny. I mean, going to a quarterfinal in Class 3 last year, it looks like they're going to take the bump up to 4. Their enrollment skyrocketed a little bit, so Brandon Cobb does a great job with them, and I would just expect them to keep getting better underneath his leadership. And I mean, Reed Spring might end up being a team that can make a small push with moving in that arm. It's just so much plays out at this level, and what I'm truly curious about is what our district seedings will look like, where we go. And there is a chance that we drop down to Class 3 this year is what I found out. So if that happens, it becomes a whole different ball game and a whole different approach to things. And I told our athletic director just the other day, we're preparing to be a great Class 4 team. And if we do, I think we're going to be prepared to be pretty decent in 3.
Wow. Yeah, that would be interesting. And that happens, and that's always the tough thing. If you're dropping down, you're like, well, we're one of the bigger Class 3 schools. But if you get pushed up, well, we're one of the smaller Class 4 schools. And that's always the, those schools on that bubble every year. It's always a tough thing. I think it is.
It is. Well, and I mean, we're in such a unique spot too, where I've never seen this kid play, but we have our starting quarterback and a stud basketball player here at Forsyth who apparently played in all these World Series down here in Branson whenever he was younger, and he's going to come out and play baseball again for the first time in 4 years. Yeah, we have another ultra-talented kid who had a head injury in football last year, so he kind of stopped playing baseball a little younger, but his younger brother, freshman, loved it and is like, I'm going to come back and play, and I've heard that he's an incredible athlete. So I keep telling people I get a gauge every once in a while of where we're at, but then it just keeps growing and hopefully in super positive ways. And, just some of the growth just by kids in general. Thomas Strahan's a name that's probably going to be heard across the state quite a bit now. That kid he can flat out play, and he's gone to some of these showcases and impressed and stuff. And just the growth that we keep on building on has been great. And I told our kids, keep trusting it, keep believing in it, because if we can compete with Hollister now, they competed with Rogersville. Everyone's going to get better, but that progress is going to be adding up. It's going to be stacking up. And, I feel obviously a lot of pressure because there's some dang good coaches in this area. It's like, I got to go compete with these guys. So.
Well, I'm hoping it maybe in the coming summer as well, because we work with our good partners over at Game 7 Baseball, and we go out to tournaments. And we do our Saturday at the park, and we were there in Branson last year for their Armed Forces Day. Hopefully, we'll see some of your young teams out there, Coach, at the Game 7 tournament.
I think so. I think one group per age, and they're doing a great job. I think we've got around 30 signed up for our youth camp coming up, so we're going to keep pouring into them, and hopefully you'll see a few out there.
I love it because it's cool. We're getting ready to do some really neat stuff because that's one of the things we love about working with Game 7 Baseball is we start seeing kids, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then we're live streaming 14U championships and things and talking to these kids. Then all of a sudden they're in high school and we're following it, and we're seeing these kids throughout this time. And this is the first year it's kind of come to fruition where I went back through my scorebooks from Game 7 championship games and seeing all these kids that we're getting ready, that we've been live streaming in high school baseball, and they're from their 14U to senior year. It's kind of it's really cool for us. It's one of the things that I'm very excited about this year, that we're going to get to see that plan that we set in place come to fruition, where we followed these kids from their 14 years old all through their youth side into the high school. And I love that part of it. It's such a fun journey. Yeah.
It's so special. And those kids, they appreciate that so much. I don't think a lot of coaches truly understand just how much kids love how involved that, guys like you are, and, coaches at that age and stuff, and following them through. One of the coolest things here that we've done is we're trying to get coaches to come back that have played here. So, we got guys like Aaron Gross and Zach Strahan, guys who played college baseball, wanting to come back and help and stuff. And it's special. It's special that I've not been here at Forsyth, but Coach Richardson and them did such a great job, and Coach Walls about the most incredible assistant ever. they've done such a good job that guys want to come back and pour into our program. And I can relate to you there watching these kids grow up. I was coaching against them, but seeing them want to do that is just so special.
That's absolutely true. Folks, this is head coach Forsyth High School, Alex Weatherman. Coach, I'm looking forward. Hopefully, we're going to work on some of these things. Maybe we'll get you on the schedule. Maybe we'll be able to get a game in and get you guys on the schedule and live stream from Forsyth or maybe another venue. I don't know. We'll talk. We'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. I think that would be special.
Yeah, I love that stuff. This is one of the things we're working towards getting around in the state. So we're excited for the upcoming 2026 season. We didn't forget about the trivia question, though. I think Coach knows this one. But I hope you've put down that. We're going to do the trivia question of the day was what Mid-Lakes Conference team finished in second place in the 2025 Class 3 Misha State Championship. Coach, you got the answer?
The answer is the Fairgrove Eagles. Hopefully it'll be the Forsyth Panthers at some point, but right now Coach Reed's got the upper hand there. It's Fairgrove Eagles.
Exactly. That's true. It was a heck of a championship game playing the Fatima Comets.
Yep.
It was a really good ball game. Really good ball game.
Yep.
I think it was a 2-0. I think that's Fatima beat them 2-0. That's all you can ask for, right? You're competing.
Such a special game, such a special moment for Fairgrove and their community and just their athletic department in general. They just keep pumping out, Final Four level teams or state championship quality teams. So that's special that they got to do that in baseball too. And, part of us, we were obviously hoping they would go win, but Lebanon and Fatima would come play in our Woodbat tournament. And they always had such competitive teams. I was always impressed. For me to see them also go win it, but we were pulling for Fairgrove quite a bit right there.
Absolutely. Got to go conference, right? Exactly.
Have to.
Coach, appreciate your time today. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, no, thank you guys a ton. This is really special what you do, I'm very blessed with the group of kids I have. I'm blessed that, guys like you are willing to promote baseball in our state and stuff. So thank you, and we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Please, again, if you like what we're doing, support us, subscribe down there, like it, share it out with your friends. We do appreciate that very much. And, hey, you know what? Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, Coach, you got some advice for pitchers?
Yeah. Take care of your arm. Start your stuff early. Listen to your arm. Always take care of that thing. It's one of the most important resources you have. And go out there, get stronger in that weight room. And I hope to see everybody throwing 85 plus this next year,
That's good advice, folks. All you hitters, I keep it simple. Hit them where they ain't. We'll see you all next time.